Hello, teacher. Good afternoon. My name is Jhonatan Samuel Martínez Hernández, and today I'm going to be telling you about an anecdote of a very close friend of mine. And it was one day I was talking with one of my friends. His name was Carlos, and we were talking about a time when he worked as a cashier at a hardware store. It was like 5 years ago, maybe, and he probably would was like 17 years old. He was still at school at that time, but it was vacation time. Carlos wanted to buy a laptop for school and maybe earn some extra money, and so he started to look for a good job. Maybe not something too much difficult to do, maybe something like a cashier or something like that. I don't know, something like that. A few days later, he got an interview at a hardware store, and at a hardware store, and when he was filling the application form, there was a question that said, "What days are you available?" And Carlos answered, "This make me smile a little. Every day, Dammy, it's vacation time." It was his answer. Um, and that was the reason what he got this job. That was what got him this job he was looking for so anxiously. The first day he was in a room with a couple of other guys who were going to be cashiers also. The owner explained to the guys the tasks they would have to do in the store and gave them some other instructions. One of these was that they would work with a rotative schedule. One day a cashier would be assigned for the opening shift, other day another guy would do that, and so on. Additionally, the owner gave them some instructions on how to deactivate the alarm and gave them their password to open the store. But Carlos was kind of a distracted boy, and so he didn't pay much attention to what was saying the owner of the store at that moment, and also forgot to write down his password. After a couple of days, Carlos had been working at the store. It was time for him to be assigned to for the opening shift. At the time of opening the store, he would have 16 seconds to deactivate the alarm before the police came. And so he opened it and did the process the way he remembered and then introduced his password. But the alarm didn't stop counting down. It seemed like Carlos had introduced his wrong password, but it was the only he knew. So he decided to press each button uh, carefully to be sure he was doing it right. But however, the countdown didn't stop, and he was starting to get a little stressed about that and didn't know what to do. Relax, you're going to solve this and turn off the alarm, said Carlos to himself. You just need to make sure you press each button very, very slowly, said again to himself. And so did Carlos. He pressed each button very carefully to be sure he was doing it right and that she was introducing the right password. Fortunately, it stopped counting down, but suddenly the alarm activated and started to sound very loud. Loud, loud. I suppose that when you try 3 times, it gets activated as maybe it is a burglar and not an employee. Carlos was freaking out at that moment. He even started crying. but suddenly he came out with the idea of calling the owner of the store. The owner was like, "Who are you?" And Carlos explained the situation to him. Um, then the owner yelled to Carlos, but however, he gave Carlos the right password, and after that, Carlos was able to turn off the alarm. And unlock the alarm successfully and open the store without any problem. I think he was very lucky because the police never came to the store. If that would have had occurred, Carlos probably would have been taken to the police station and he would have had to wait for the owner to explain everything to the police so Carlos would be set free and back to work again. And what I have learned from this is that we have to pay attention when someone is telling important to us. Uh, Maybe it is at school or at home or at the work, but we have to pay attention very closely so we don't go through this kind of situations and avoid get yelled by your boss or anyone else, and you avoid attention calls. If Carlos had paid close attention at the right moment to what was saying the owner when he was explaining the tasks and instructions, all this situation would have not occurred, and Carlos um, probably never would have passed through this situation. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you understand clearly all everything I have said here. Thank you very much.